Things about to go final here. Noah Kane getting a little bit of a run here. 41-14. It's going to be wow. Did you just hear that? Jaden Daniels, 88.2% completion rating, is an LSU record for quarterbacks. Wow. You got to understand, LSU just absolutely, if you didn't watch the game, which I'm sure you did, LSU just thoroughly dominated Mississippi State wire to wire. We're going to let everyone get in here before we go into the post-game show, but unbelievable. Jaden Daniels, 88.2 completion rating. That is an LSU record for quarterbacks. 361 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, most to Malik Neighbors. But Daniels was 30 of 34. 30 of 34. All week we were saying we want Jaden Daniels to attack with the football, attack downfield, go for the jugular. Do not hesitate. We knew he could do this. It was just doing it. Just throw the damn ball. Throw it to your guys. Distribute the football. Trust in your playmakers. Set them free. He did it. Today, he absolutely trusted in his guys, and look what happens. Look what happens when you throw it up for a guy like Malik Neighbors. You wouldn't say Malik was just wide open on all of those, but you knew Malik was going to win those battles. 99 out of 100 times, he's going to win those battles. And look what happened. He basically had 3 touchdowns today. 239 yards for Malik Neighbors. 2 touchdowns. Last year, he only had 3 scores all season, even though he had 1,000 yards. But only 3 touchdowns all season. He's got 3 this season already. 2 in this game. And then he caught another long bomb, like right on the 1-yard line. Incredible game. Incredible game. We also saw Harold Perkins go off, had a sack. His pressures all game were forcing huge plays from LSU's defensive line. 4 total sacks from guys like Wingo. Savion Jones gets his first sack of the season. Extremely impressive for LSU's defensive line. In every category that we had questions about this team, we got answers. We got very good answers. There was a question about quarterback. Will Daniels actually attack? Will he throw the football? There was major questions about the defense, especially the secondary. How can these guys hold up? How can these guys even stand a chance? Even if Will Rogers, it's not the air raid offense anymore. Who cares? They're still throwing it efficiently. You got Juju Griffin, who had a pretty damn good game for Mississippi State, but was only really effective on special teams. Offensively, Mississippi State had nothing going for them. Only, I think, 5 yards in the entire first quarter, 7 yards, clear, 7 total yards on offense, clear until their final offensive drive of the first half, when they put up 72 yards on their final drive. Before that, Mississippi State had 7 total offensive yards. LSU's defense looked porous, looked terrible in the first 2 games. Terrible. And you see a complete 180. One thing I must address, Andre Sam, I was worried about him. I didn't think he was that good of a player. I was wrong. The dude showed me a lot today. Was balling in his SEC debut. Went out there, was knocking fools around. Anticipating everything. He was so fun to watch at the back. Let's get into the comments. We got our first one here, of course. Mike Prima, will the show start? You're watching it, my guy. Bruce says, let's go, Lon. LSU beating the out of Mississippi State. Yes. Yes, they were and are and did. Let's share this link a bit more. I'm not sure if this link has really had a chance to get circulated. Let's get that out on Facebook as well. Some of the guys like Harold Hibbert in here. Unbelievable game. Like I said, in every respect, every question that you were wanting to know about this team. You know, could this team run the ball? Could this team, could the receivers, man up and have a big day and not drop the ball and really stand in there for Jaden Daniels? Could Jaden Daniels take hits and deliver the football and distribute the ball and, for all intents and purposes, play like a quarterback? Be a quarterback, he answered every question you could ask. I mean, like anyone calling for Garrett Nussmeier, which some of the things we said this week, of course, just like Jordy Collada, some of the things he said, anybody who's critical of Jaden Daniels. If you're critical of Jaden Daniels, suddenly it means you're critical of, anything that happens with Jaden Daniels. And it's like, sometimes you've got to understand we're doing our jobs. You've got to be critical about the player if they're playing as well as they could. We didn't think Jaden Daniels was playing as well as he could at quarterback. We saw him show glimpses of this all last season. We saw him show glimpses of this, and we saw him, absolutely ball out against Florida, Ole Miss, Alabama. Had some really good passing games against actually Tennessee. He passed the ball well, but then passed the ball really well. His best passing game, I think, was against Georgia, when he was forced to basically pass the ball because he couldn't move. That was his most impressive passing game. And you know what? He had an absolute riveting game today. I can't get enough of what we saw from Jaden Daniels. So complete out there. So complete. Every throw. Anyone clamoring for Garrett Nussmeier, which we were not, we were saying Daniels needs to attack with the ball. If he puts us in a position where he's hesitating, we're losing again, we're wasting our weapons, we're going to have to go to different options. We're going to have to say, hey, give Garrett Nussmeier a chance. But guess what Jaden Daniels just did? He just crapped all over that narrative, crapped all over any thought or belief that he was not going to deliver for LSU, and totally said, this is my team. This is my team. And, one thing that was very, called into question by a lot of analysts, including myself, his ability to have chemistry and combine with Malik Nabers. Well, the two answered that. Malik Nabers. Let's just go right into the numbers right here. Okay. 13 targets. 13 catches. 239 yards. 2 touchdowns. 13 for 13 from Malik Nabers. Are you kidding me? Career high 239 yards. We saw him go off in the Purdue game, but this is a whole nother level. Purdue were ragtag, destroyed on their roster, coaching staff, whole 9 yards. This was a whole another dimension of dominance from Malik Nabers. And it was just so beautiful to finally see him get fed, Like, we have these guys for only such a limited amount of time before they're gone. Malik Neighbors is going to be playing for some other NFL team, like destroying opponents, and we only have these guys for such a little amount of time. Maximize these guys. It was so beautiful to see this happen, and now it's got to continue because you've got a weapon like Malik Neighbors. You saw him just being put isolated on the outside against Florida State and even against Grambling for limited times, and it was just not working. The mismatches just were better for him in the slot. You get him moving on the motion, snap the football, he's immediately already moving when the ball snapped. He's already in his progression of his route, basically. It's unstoppable. It's unstoppable. Malik Neighbors was just absolutely brilliant today. We got a ton of comments in here. Oh, it's Jamer and this Mike Prima guy saying he missed the game. Wow. Come on, Mike. You missed the game. Well, let's fill you in. Malik Neighbors went off. 239 yards, 13 catches from 13 targets. Didn't drop a pass. No incompletions even his way. 2 touchdowns. I mean, how can you defend that? We destroy them 41-14. But here's the thing, too. Jaden Daniels, he answered a lot of critics' questions. He did it all, really. We told you at the start of this stream about he had the record for the 88.2 completion rating. 361 passing yards, 30 of 34. 2 touchdowns, both, of course, to Neighbors. But then he had 64 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns to it. And how many carries was that from? That was from 15 carries. Wow. So he ran the ball 15 times as well. It didn't feel like that. It felt like LSU were running it, down their throat with Josh Williams. Logan Diggs had a great game. Caleb Jackson comes in late and just punishing people. But this was a phenomenal riot. I mean, this was just fun to watch. This was just a riot for LSU fans. They had everything you wanted to see. There was freshmen out there in their, playing in their SEC debut or full debut. I even saw Ryan Yates playing on some important third down, and he made a tackle, preventing their guy from making the third down. It was pretty hilarious. Freshman Whit Weeks on his SEC LSU starting debut leads the team in tackles with 8. Unbelievable. What a game from him. He had like 1 or 2 passes caught on him, but he had this ridiculous quarterback hit where he comes screaming in on some dude on a blitz and just blows this guy to pieces. Just absolutely breaks this guy's face. Just goes in there and just blasts him. Just unbelievable hit. Oh, Jesus. And the coolest tweet I know. Wow. I mean, you saw Savion Jones answer a lot of questions, too. Savion Jones, I mean, we were questioning, is he too big? 280, is that too big for, can he move well anymore? Did we ruin his speed? with this. There was legitimate questions about that from my viewpoint. The dude answered all of it. I mean, he was just incredible. Kai Wingo gets a sack. That big, just that big play right there, just blasts the hell out of that guy. I mean, Will Rogers was struggling. Will Rogers was struggling today. LSU, you saw the most pressure from this team that you've seen all season. I mean, they were actually, truly having fun going out there and dominating. Like, this wasn't just a win. This wasn't just a good victory. This was a straight up domination from LSU. Let's get that straight right here. Jaden Daniels, 361 passing yards. I know, in our preview article, we wrote that these linebackers, these DBs are so susceptible in the passing game, and there's going to be opportunities for Jaden Daniels and these receivers to absolutely go ham. I wrote that. I will prove that to you right now. We'll go into share screen mode. And look what has come to pass. Look what has come to pass. Malik Neighbors absolutely erased them. I mean, Jaden Daniels, some of those throws were absolutely beautiful. I mean, this game was so much fun to watch. I'm putting the game on again right now. This game was just this is how LSU football should be played. You saw guys get, defenders, they would make the hit, and then they're getting in their, right in their face, getting right in their grill, and like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere. You're going to have to deal with me all day, baby. Like, just really just aggressive, intense, just a mindset of we're going to kick your ass and we're just going to drag you right in front of your own fans, baby. Like, it was just, it was LSU football, baby. It was mean. It was nasty. It was in your face. It was pedal to the metal on defense, where we've been soft this season. Let's just be straight up. LSU have been soft on defense. And what is more damning than to be told that you're soft as a defense? And then offensively, I think you saw one of the best offensive games we have seen as LSU fans. Just like the feeling around it, the plays, the explosiveness. One of the best and most efficient games offensively, possibly since 2019. I know that might sound crazy, but possibly since the 2019 season. I know we've had some good offensive games. Booty went off for 308 in one game, but this might be one of the best offensive games since 2019. Like, just Jaden Daniels, 30 for 34 against an SEC defense, 2 passing touchdowns, then adds 2 rushing touchdowns. Okay. We rushed for 163 on the day, 163 yards, 4.2 average, 530 total yards. But, really, and we actually had the ball for 17 more minutes than they did. 17 more minutes time of possession. That's hilarious. Oh. That's damn right. I got a Fresca. But really, as great as this offense was for me, big picture here, the story of this game is LSU's ravenous defense. I didn't think we would see this type of defensive game for quite some time here. I really was very skeptical about this defense. I thought there's no way we'll see this defense really truly dominate another team for long stretches of the season, right? You thought, okay, we got the guys, we got all these great names, but like we've never seen this unit, this squad, Smith, Perkins, Wingo, Burns, Brooks, even though he wasn't there today, he's still part of that group. Um, Savion Jones, all these guys, we haven't seen them really do anything. We've seen them put up some stats. We haven't seen these guys really do anything together on the football field. Today was that day where like they announced themselves as a team defense. Harold Perkins has earned all of that national status individually. Mason Smith, to another degree, has done that. But now this was the time for them to really go do this as a team and really be just a riveting team defense. Andre Sam, like I said, just barely when we started, totally balled out today. Totally proved me wrong. I was worried about Andre Sam back there. He was absolutely vicious, aggressive, brutal, anticipated every pass coming his way. Had no problems rocking people, absolutely messing people right up in the face. You saw the DBs play a hell of a game today against Will Rogers. Will Rogers went 11 for 28 for 103 yards, 39% completion rating. Good Lord. Are you kidding me? That is so bad. I think Jaden Daniels had better numbers against Arkansas last year than this. No, I think he had like 88 yards or something, but like that is terrible. That is just abjectly god awful. Wow. Their leading receiver at 52 yards, 3 catches, 52 yards. Griffin only 4 for 16 receiving, so he did like nothing there. Griffin 3 for 24 rushing the ball, 1 touchdown. That's where he hurt us a little bit. But his special teams is where I felt he did some damage on us. Yep, he had 102 yards on kickoff returns. 102 yards on kickoff returns, Griffin. So like, holy shit, Griffin had a pretty good game against us, even though we limited the hell out of him. He was their best guy. Quavius Marks is the guy that we really limited and hampered, just completely harassed, completely denied anything. 75 total yards from 8 carries, only 8 carries for Quavius Marks. Really strange. Had that big one, the 52-yard one, but after that, nothing. So really, his 75 yards, 52 of them come from one play. So, I mean, LSU were so superior to this Mississippi State team. I'm suspect about Mississippi State for many different reasons, but it's a suspect of Zach Arnett's coaching. But at the same time, like LSU really showed the team they should be this season. This is the team we expected. This is the team we wondered where the hell they were for week 1. This is the team we're like, okay. In week 2, kind of like, well, you still have to prove it to us. Week 3, SEC opener, on the road, morning game. They came out, whooped that ass. 9 of 16 on the 3rd down for LSU. 2 of 2 on 4th down, including a 4th and 7 where Jaden Daniels throws a bomb to Malik Neighbors for the touchdown. Beautiful play down the sideline. And it was right in that area where it's too far to kick a field goal, but you're close enough. Let's go for this thing. We're not going to really screw ourselves with field position too badly. Our defense is rocking it, so let's just go for it. Love the play call, love the play design, and just love that Jaden Daniels very quickly just unleashes this thing down the field on a line to Malik Neighbors. I mean, I was so into this game. I haven't had more fun watching an LSU game since the LSU Alabama game. This was so much fun. After the LSU Alabama game, I was just so nervous because it was like, get through Arkansas. That game was so worrying. And then, of course, the A&M game was so disappointing. Going to see the Georgia game, the SEC championship game in person, though, that was a ton of fun. I thought that team actually played a lot better than the credit they got later. I thought they actually had a hell of a game. We had two quarterbacks almost throw for 300 yards on Georgia, just a hair under 300, and both barely played a half each. Incredible. We had two almost 150-yard receivers. And so you see what the potential was of this offense. You saw the breadcrumbs of what this team could be. This team could be special offensively. And here you see it. Here you see what this team could be offensively. It's just unstoppable. Diggs, quietly effective, 9 for 41. Caleb Jackson, only 5 carries for 19 yards, but it felt like so much more. He had that 13-yarder where he pounded that dude, just stiff arms one guy into the ground, and then just lowers the shoulder and puts this guy into the fucking third row. I mean, excuse my language, but just unbelievable. You saw the return of John Emery Jr. He got 3 rushes for 7 yards. Let's see how many catches he had. 1 catch, -3 yards. So he didn't have the best day, but it didn't really matter. It was just about him getting game fitness back. Really, it was about him getting his legs back more than anything for Emery, and getting through the game without like a hamstring injury or some bullshit like that. We saw that. Just seeing how this offense went down the field, seeing what they did on the red zone. LSU red zone, 4 for 4. 4 for 4 in the red zone. And this first touchdown was so huge. This was so important. Taking that 10-0 lead, the second we kicked that field goal, even though it was disappointing, I was like, okay, this game's over. I loved how we were playing on defense. I could see that Jaden Daniels was in attack mode. And for all of our criticism of Jaden Daniels, which we've actually said that criticism to Jaden Daniels, and actually, to his mother, who we've talked to at random at times through direct messages. But that criticism has always been constructive. We always knew this is the quarterback he should be every game. I'm not saying he has to be some pocket passer. That's not the quarterback he is, and I don't want him to be that quarterback. He's so much more unstoppable when you've got him passing in the pocket, able to hang in there and take hits in the pocket, but then also he's extending the play to the right. He's manipulating, he's moving the pocket all over the field. He's morphing the pocket left and right, so he's replatforming all over the place. You've got him just squaring up and making beautiful throws all over the field. Just dropping dimes. That 30 of 34 was not like, the air raid offense where it's all 5 yards. Boom, ding, 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 ding. I guarantee his average depth of target will be somewhere around 14, 15 yards for Jaden Daniels in this game. Probably even more with the big plays. I wouldn't be shocked if it was in the 20s. And that's what we were wanting from Jaden Daniels. I know it sounded ridiculous when we posted that thing, and that tweet got a lot of comments, a lot of feedback, a lot of buzz. Because there's some people who just, when you question anything about JD5, they think you're anti-JD5. You want Nuss immediately. No. I actually love both quarterbacks. I think both could win us a national championship if we just surround them with the right talent, because this is LSU football, baby. We won a championship with Matt Mock, Matt Flynn, You don't think we can't like? We went to a title game with Jordan Jefferson. Like, if we become a quarterback factory, this thing is over. We can become that dynasty in the SEC. We can become that dynasty in college football. I know I'm getting ahead of myself here. Just one win, just one win in the SEC. We're now 2-1. We got embarrassed against Florida State. Speaking of which, I'm going to look at that score right now, see if they got upset like I was predicting they might. But really, this has been so much fun to watch LSU. Just really, just giving it to it. We didn't win in this. I predicted a 29-13 game. Okay, LSU's offense just went ham. LSU's offense just went off. I love that we take points here on this first drive instead of just throwing it away, and we took points. That was the problem with the other games is we didn't take points when we should have. And I think when you have points, you have some type of lead for your defense, even if it's 3-0. It's something. And Malik actually hurt his shoulder early in this game. He's there writhing on the ground in pain. It didn't knock Malik out like we were all worrying. It didn't do anything. All it did was piss him off and make him just go to Jaden and say, "Give me the damn ball." 13 catches, 239 freaking yards. I got to text Malik right now. Oh, sorry. I got to send that. 94 total rushing yards from Mississippi State. 94 total yards rushing the ball. 107 passing the ball. I knew Jet Johnson would be their best defender. 14 tackles, half tackle for loss for him, leading the team in tackles. But everyone else was so susceptible in coverage, and you saw us just pick them off. Just saw us pick them off. Malik Neighbors goes for 239, but Brian Thomas Jr., 7 for 60. It was interesting because out of the gates, I don't know what you all thought about this, but Chris Hilton Jr. was starting instead of Kyron Lacy. Aaron Anderson was starting instead of I think maybe Brian Thomas Jr. It was very strange. It was very strange to see these alternate starting lineups. It was awesome. I like that. I like that kind of kick in the ass to someone like Kyron Lacy. Like, yeah, okay, you caught a touchdown last week. That doesn't wipe away what you did against Florida State. That doesn't mean you're going to start over someone like Chris Hilton, who should have started in this game. And they didn't really give Chris Hilton the ball. I mean, I guess they didn't really need to. Malik kind of just took care of that. But Chris Hilton, only 2 catches, 9 yards, like 4 targets. Come on. Give him the ball a little bit more than that. That's kind of 4 targets. Come on. Brian Thomas Jr., 8 targets, 7 catches, 60 yards. Logan Diggs, 3 catches, 30 yards. 9 carries, 41 yards. So Logan Diggs, 71 total yards. Caleb Jackson, 2 catches, 15 yards. 5 rushes, 19 yards. So that is where those yards came from. Josh Williams, 4 for 17, 1 for 13. So 17 yards rushing, 13 yards catching, receiving the ball, 12 yards after the catch. It's What's really impressive to me is when I go in here and I look at this defense. I mean, look at this. Look at this stuff. Let's get the share screen on here. Please don't tell me that ESPN volume's been on that whole time. I'm sorry if it was. That would be terrible. That's happened to me before. I try and mute that tab every time. I'm so sorry if it was. Oh, I found that out with my last live stream. I couldn't hear it, but it was like just low enough, the volume, that it was like blasting through the StreamYard pickup, the microphone. So it was something I couldn't hear when I was doing it live, but then watching it back, it was like literally competing with my voice at the same time. I'm so sorry if you've watched my things and something like that has happened. That's not intentional, obviously. Whit Weeks leads the team in tackles defensively. The freshman started his first starting debut. Okay, one-upping his brother, West. He's starting for LSU. 8 total tackles. The next guy, second on the list, Harold Perkins, only has 4. Has half that many. 2 solo, 1 quarterback hit. He was targeted a few times. Should have allowed a long catch, but the guy dropped the ball, and then had a catch on him in the flat where the guy went for like 10 or 12 yards. I think that was Jaquavius Marks as well. This was just everything you want to see. This is everything you want to see as an LSU fan. Complete and ravenous dominance. I'm still just like that Will Rogers stat line is just so impressive. Just absolutely denying him anything. 11 of 28, 103 passing yards, 39% completion percentage. Holy shit. And you saw Harold Perkins breaking up a pass that was going into the end zone. He's back to the ball, and he's making this sick-ass pass breakup, and then you saw him on the next play get his first sack of the season. We posted the complete defender when that happened, because it's just it's just proof of what he does. I mean, he's just such an incredible player. I mean, Jaden Daniels, 88.2 completion rating. I mean, like, are you kidding me? It was like almost unfair. And I'm watching it right now, and like, yeah, the game started out random little outplays, little 4 2-yard gainer, doom, doom, and he's nailing them all. 13 of 13. He started the game. 13 of 13. But doing that, I love it because it sets up the big plays, which I believe happened right here. 11 for 11 for 89 yards at that point. And then I believe in these next 2 plays where he just absolutely cooks. Yep, right here. Boom. Back shoulder to Malik. Wow. Right over number 21 for Mississippi State, who is Washington. H. Washington. Hunter Washington. Wow. This is such a great tool. Literally has the best stats. I love this thing. You can literally click on this on any guy's name, and it shows you every damn play they made in every single part of the game. You don't have to go zipping through and sifting through like I used to. Like it's just so. Oh, I love it. For someone who needs that kind of stuff to be flying at my fingertips and wants that type of stuff, I mean, I can cobble up the data, my no problem. But like that was beautiful. This is great to see. Greg Brooks was missing due to personal thing, is all we'll say. And so that one was for 3. Love it. I absolutely love that shit. And I love that they brought the win bar, a little mini win bar, right into the locker room, the visiting locker room. I mean, the visiting locker rooms are lonely places in these stadiums. I tell you what, they look really shitty. Have you ever seen that? If you've ever been in the LSU Tigers home locker room, obviously you've seen that. Have you ever been in the LSU visiting locker room? That is something to see. It is kind of funny. It's just funny to see the difference of amenities and just everything. It's like you get shit, like, and we're partying in that locker room. These are the games that bring a team together. And I love that we are not really thought of right now. I love that the target is off our back and we can just play league football. And you've seen so many teams in the SEC West already lose. A&M's already lost. Alabama's already lost. You know, we lost the game, and so it's like, okay, regroup. And I love where the team is right now. You just scored 72 points on a team where you went 10 of 11 in the red zone. 10 of 11. 10 of 11, baby. That's just nuts. That is absolutely crazy. And I know it's against Grambling, it didn't really matter, but like coming into this game, that's what you wanted to see from that team. You didn't want to see 41-14 against Grambling, because then today you probably would have saw like 20-17 if we were lucky to win. But what we did in the last game set this up. It allowed Jaden Daniels to get his bearings passing the football. And my God, when he hits Malik Neighbors on that back shoulder throw and we go up 10-0. I had a sincere feeling this thing is on now. This is on, baby. Interesting slate tonight. Tennessee, Florida, Pittsburgh, West Virginia, CSU going into number 18 Deion's Colorado, South Florida versus number 10 Alabama. I wonder how far LSU move up in the rankings after this. See, that's a very interesting formation right there. You got Jordan Jefferson, Jacoby and Guillory up in the defensive alignment right there. Swinson on the outside. Savion Jones is like a DE. Perkins is like the jack linebacker. So you're seeing Perkins literally play that jack linebacker position. Not really like on paper, he's a jack linebacker, but kind of like he's in that area. And he could be a nickel. He can go back into coverage if he reads it, or he can blitz. He can, we didn't just see him blitz off the edge. We saw him blitz off, the left, leg of that DE. We saw him blitz from different angles. I really want to see how many pressures he had in this game, because I just saw another one right there where he forces the incompletion against Denver Harris. Denver Harris is guarding the guy. The guy comes back to Rogers. The pass is really low. Denver Harris doesn't have the best of coverage, but he's at least, he's there. And the pass is just too low, and Harris forces him out of bounds, and it's a great play for LSU, but they have to review it. It takes forever. Right at that point, LSU's up 10-0. Let's see this. You can see it in slow motion, Harris's coverage right here. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, Harris wasn't there to make the play, but here's the thing. Harris's coverage was good enough that play would have been short of the first down regardless. Yeah, it would have been short, but I mean, that was actually a lot closer than I thought from the first angle. Very impressive to see Whit Weeks out there for this many snaps. I mean, the dude was out there like almost all game. Because he's a freshman, he's still going to stay in when all the starters go out. Like that's kind of the benefit in one way, respect of being able to be in that kind of age group, that position. We got some more comments in here. Adrian Perkins says most dominating game of the BK era. I actually agree. AD. I actually was thinking that, but then I'm like, well, people are probably gonna think, oh, this has got to be the Purdue game, or it's got to be the Florida game, or it's got to be the Ole Miss game. I'm like, no. We faced a 17-3 deficit, a 20-3 deficit against Ole Miss at one point. And in Florida, we just traded scores, so it was offensively really good. Defensively, we were just opportunistic and made plays, but we're pretty bad in that game defensively. This game, SEC opener, on the back of a just embarrassing, humiliating defeat to Florida State. You do this to Mississippi State, who were undefeated, 2-0, but 2-0. 2-0 is 2-0. On the road, without your starting safety, with Mason Smith playing, limited reps because of injury. And, question marks. Your starting linebacker as well. Omar Spates wasn't there. You had a freshman at linebacker. You had a freshman at tight end. I mean, that's just insane what LSU did today. So really, this was a huge win for the Tigers because with all those factors, AD, just like you said, this is the most dominating game of the BK era. I mean, I agree with you, AD. This is the most dominant performance of the Brian Kelly era because it's who, it's when, and it's how. Like it's all of that. On the road, SEC, without starting tight end, safety, linebacker, with questions all over the defense, criticisms of the offense. Brian Kelly's Tigers just absolutely eviscerated Zach Arnett and his Mississippi State, whatever they're called, Bulldogs. because everyone's called the Bulldogs. Or are they the Wildcats now? I think we just retired their name to the Wildcats. I think we just changed their name. Yep, I agree. That is the most dominant performance of the BK era. I mean, it's all of what they were up against. Ooh, what's going on? I love it. Brian Kelly getting in the team saying, "Show him how we fight. Show him how we," basically saying that this is the attributes that Greg Brooks has. Now show him what we do. Let's fucking do it for him. And wow, prayers for him and his family for what they're going through. It's tough, but what a moment. You wish Greg Brooks Jr. could have been out in this game, playing with this team in this type of. I mean, Greg Brooks Jr. has been desperate for the rest of the defense to play like he does, to play like this, to play with the same type of ferocity and intensity and aggression. Well, they did it today, and I really the biggest lesson about this game now is this must continue. You saw Jaden Daniels getting pissed off at teammates, like saying, Logan Diggs had the formation wrong or something. They had to call a timeout and waste a timeout, and Jaden Daniels was pissed. I've never seen Jaden Daniels do that. Like Jaden Daniels demanded accountability today. He demanded accountability. Like wire to wire, we just like owned this team. Jaden Daniels was a big time leader on offense. Was commanding this team in every single facet. And then you saw on defense, Harold Perkins was absolutely the epicenter of domination. He was the eye of the hurricane. Like this dude was everywhere, just like we wanted to see him. You know, he's over here on the left, he's over here on the right, he's blitzing over through the middle, he blitzes through the A gaps. He's like he was exploiting every weakness and every possible matchup. There was times they were just like, let's experimental rush him against this guy and see what happens. And it doesn't really even matter if Perkins gets in the backfield because guess what? If he's just blitzing off the edge, if he's rushing the passer, you always see two bodies shift that side, no matter what. You always see two guys, that guard and that tackle, shift over that side. And sometimes if there's a tight end over there, you see all three go over there and leave a major gap because, like, just someone's extremely worried. I got to be over there. That's my main assignment. I got to help that left tackle. But then that other guy just kind of like follows stupidly and just for a split second gets destroyed. I mean, you leave yourself vulnerable against a guy like Mekhi Wingo, Mason Smith, you're done. And you saw that today. Mekhi Wingo picked up a beautiful sack, just profiting off of those pressures from Harold Perkins and just the threat of his pressures. Really, Harold Perkins, 4 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass breakup, which saved a touchdown, was a red zone, end zone target. Beautiful, beautiful play. Andre Sam was extremely efficient today, effective, and he was hitting the shit out of people all over the field. 4 tackles, 4 solo, all solo. 1 pass breakup. It felt like he had more tackles. It felt like he was savagely destroying people out there. You just saw that nastiness, and Andre Sam was bringing the wood today. Braden Swinson had a great day, I thought, coming off the edge with pressures. I think he'll probably have 4 pressures officially, but 3 tackles, 1 pass breakup, 1 quarterback hit from him. Amazing. Let's see. I got to check the score real quick for the Florida State game. See if they lost to. Oh, they barely pull it out against Boston College, man. Are you kidding me? Boston College had a scoop and score to keep it close, and then they barely got out of that game life. Boston College scored 13 points in that fourth quarter. Florida State with a big fat 0. Good God, man. Boston College, like, literally led in like every main statistic except for Johnny Wilson had 4 catches for 105. Like, that's incredible. Castellanos went for 305. 305 through the air and 95 on the ground. Holy shit. That's incredible. That's incredible. Florida State escape. See what I was telling you all week? Well, you need to stop crowning Florida State so early. Like, I know you want to. I know you want them to be great so that they make the playoff and it helps LSU out. I'm telling you, like, they're not going to survive this season unblemished. At least I'll say that. I don't think they're as good as we're crowning them to be. LSU should have been up 35-0 in that first half. AD Perkins says, when you talk about a complete from 1 quarter to 4th quarter domination, easily the most dominating game up for Brian Kelly. Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, especially when you're talking about personnel who are out, talking about this is an SEC opponent. This is on the road. This is just so much is against the team. Early morning kickoff, there's just so much wrong about this game. So much that could have been a trap for LSU in this game. Jet Johnson is a really sneaky, damn good defender. Leads the team in interceptions and sacks. Possible he could, get some big plays in the backfield on Jaden Daniels, force some turnovers. You never know. Instead, Jaden Daniels just completely commands the team, manipulates the pocket in just the right ways. I'm watching him avoid pressures with his movements, just little subtle movements. He's extending the play. He's not giving up on it. And then I just watch him hang in there and take a walloping on the second Malik Neighbors touchdown, which is just an absolutely beautiful, perfect pass. I mean, are you kidding me? This is probably the play of the game. 35-yard line. Malik Neighbors with a little out and up, right over the outstretched hands. Takes a fucking savage hit. A knee to the head, too, on the stupid lineman's way up. And that angle is so outrageous. And then you got the booth shot where Denbrock and Joe Sloan are looking at each other like, damn, son, what did you just call? Oh, my God, that was fun. I think the right guys were playing today. I think the right guys were on the field today. I think this is what LSU fans had to see, needed to see. I mean, Jay Bramblett is just like literally just chilling there, like going like on the bench, just like having a. He's probably gonna bring a cooler to the next game. We've been told. Um, like he just this guy. I think he's got like one punt in the last 2 games. A.D. Perkins, play of the game, the annihilation of Isaac Smith by Caleb Jackson. Dude, he deleted him. He deleted him. He lowers the boom. He stiff arms one guy, Caleb Jackson. This is what we were talking about earlier in the game, earlier in the post game. He stiff arms this dude and then just lowers the boom and just literally sends this guy a freight train of hate pain. He literally just like stomped him into the ground. You even saw Logan Diggs get a pancake block. Pass blocking. Just absolutely levels this dude. There was a nastiness about LSU today. There was an edge about LSU. There was a fever about LSU. See right there. Mississippi State just dropped the ball. It's just a bad pass, but Devin Harris picks the ball up and pretends like he's running it into the end zone, even though the play's been whistled dead and it doesn't really matter. Psychologically, that is what LSU wants to do. And I'm watching Andre Sam jawing with the guy, saying, I'm going to be up your ass all day, mother. Like that is LSU football. Get in their face, up their ass, and you're never going to stop. All day, all night. We're here. We're not going anywhere. Deal with it. Harold Perkins, spread out wide into the nickel position, making tackles for loss in the backfield. Coming off the edge, exploiting the left tackle, exploiting the right tackle, burying guards. This is what we want to see. Greg Penn III had a great game, I felt like. He wasn't playing a ton, but he was playing, I think he was kind of having reps with Whit Weeks for some time of the game, and I thought he had a great game. Let's see what Greg Penn had. 3 tackles, 1 solo. So, I mean, that doesn't really tell us much, but from the eye test, I thought he was good. I thought he was good. Mason Smith, 2 tackles, 1 solo. Batted the pass at the line of scrimmage that I really liked. I really love to see that, the batted pass. And then he had the quarterback hit, Mason Smith. That's Mason Smith's first batted pass in his LSU career. So you wanted to see that. We got it. Sorry, I had to adjust. Man. You got Malik Neighbors going off. You got Jaden Daniels proving himself as a quarterback, continuing to play his own game, still running the ball. You've got Malik Neighbors, career day, 239, 13 out of 13. Perfect 13 to 13 game, 2 touchdowns, so he gets in the end zone too. He gets the rewards, he gets the cash in, which he didn't get a lot of last year. He's already got 3 in 3 games. I mean, Jaden Daniels breaking the completion percentage record. Who the hell would have thought that would have happened? He's so damn efficient with the football today. It was crazy. You had the defense, though, answer a ton of questions. This defense were ravenous today. We had 1 sack in the first 2 games. One sack. We wrote about that early this week about some crazy numbers from the Grambling game, after the Grambling game, or technically from the first 2 weeks. This was the lowest total LSU had ever had. Like, I think last season we had 3 for the first 2 games too, so it was becoming kind of a trend. LSU shut that trend right down. Savion Jones gets a sack. Major Burns gets a sack on a blitz. Mekhi Wingo gets a sack, and then Harold Perkins beautifully gets his debut sack of the season. Tackles for loss. Harold Perkins with 2. Sage Ryan gets a tackle for loss. Mekhi Wingo gets a tackle for loss. Major Burns with the TFL. Davion Jones and Parashand with the TFL. So we got 7 TFLs right there. All the right guys, too. All guys that you want to make plays, who get their confidence, guys you know we're going to need, have these big plays. You even saw Zion Alexander get a nice, ridiculous tackle on a play where he just blasted the shit out of some guy, too. So you just saw confidence being gained all over the field there. Savion Jones only 1 tackle, 1 solo, 1 sack, 1 TFL, and 1 quarterback hit. Only 1 in every category, but like it felt like he did so much today. I know the next level stats are going to be very impressive for Savion Jones. This was a breakout game for him, I felt. It looked like, Savion Jones entered this game already leading LSU in pressures with 7. I think he had to have had 6, maybe even 7 today alone. He was incredible. He was constantly in the face of Will Rogers, constantly chasing Will Rogers. And it was great to see him get that sack Mason Smith almost got another pass breakup too, flying into Will Rogers and getting the quarterback hit there. It's just like, this was a game where so many different Tigers could have broken out. And you saw Malik Neighbors break out for what seems like the 6th time, But finally, it's like this is now he is going to be fully recognized as a superstar. Savion Jones, I feel like, didn't break out with that superstar game just yet, but this is quite a breakout game for him, in my opinion. Quite a breakout performance. Harold Perkins, he's already had that breakout game. He had so many breakout games last year. Florida, the Auburn interception, the performance against Auburn, the Arkansas game, of course. Everyone talked about the Alabama game, of course. Duh. Really, he had an amazing game against Georgia as well. That would have been another breakout performance. Leading tackler with like 11 tackles, strip sack on Stetson Bennett. But for this season, he really needed the confidence. He really needed a huge game. He needed to stuff the stats and like just feel good about things. This was that performance. This was that game. And it's against an SEC opponent on the road too. Like no one's gonna take it away from you. No one's gonna minimize it when, well, Mississippi State suck, and 99% of the teams from across the country are gonna come into Mississippi State into Starkville and lose these games, just because of the scenario and the logistics and the travel and it's an SEC. Like many of them will fall prey to the things LSU did not today. And straight up, LSU just showed that they are a better team athletically. An athletically superior team than not only Mississippi State, but 99.9% of teams out there. LSU are a top 5 team. It sucks that we won't be recognized as such, though, until we beat Alabama. Until that Alabama game comes in Tuscaloosa and we beat Alabama on the road in Tuscaloosa, as we have predicted, we're not going to be recognized as a top 5 team until we do that. So just have fun with these improvements week to week. Just hope that LSU just keep that foot on the gas. We've seen it. We've seen what they can do. Now you just keep going. There's no reason to stop here. There's no reason to change course, to go back, to regress. This is the way forward. This is the LSU we knew we had for that 4-game stretch last year. And it's 10 times better this season because Jaden's a better quarterback. Malik Neighbors is a better receiver. We have a better offensive line who've played a year, and they've got, the whole team is just better as a whole. Offensively and defensively, the jury is still out whether this is a better defensive team than last year. Obviously, there's still major question marks about this team defensively. But this was a fantastic performance that went a long way in cleaning up a lot of that. Because look at 17-0, 10 minutes left in the second. Like they gave Mississippi State nothing. 7 yards until that final drive in the last of that half. 7 total offensive yards. I mean, our tackling was brilliant. And I really love the drill sergeant wake up mentality this morning from Brian Kelly, where for breakfast it wasn't like a quiet, everyone eat a break. Like they got the noise and they got the music blaring. They got people going. Like Kelly probably didn't even sleep. Kelly probably took like 9 Adderall or something. Like, I mean, this team were revved up, guys. This was fun. This was fun. I mean, yeah, there we go. There's a sack on Daniels. I think Lance Hurd allowed that play. Let's see who was responsible for that sack. Let's see here. Yeah, that was on Hurd. But Hurd is kind of left isolated by some deceptive movement in the rest of the offensive line. The alignment got shaky there, and Hurd was left isolated in a spot that he's not used to. He's basically in the guard position, and just got completely exposed. That sack will probably go on Lance Hurd. See, here's the play where Jaden Daniels freaking out Logan Diggs. Like I'd love to see it. I'm not saying he's got to scream and be a Joe Burrow about it and like really neuter guys, but like you want to see that where he's demanding it. You don't want to see him be chill all the time. I want to see a team with a fucking edge. Like I come in here with doing this thing. I have an edge about me. We're not going to always be crowd pleasing. We're not always going to sunshine pump. We're going to shock you sometimes. We're going to say some stuff that's going to make you think. It's going to freak you out. It's going to make you question everything you ever thought you knew about LSU football. And there's things that I'm going to say that is going to make you say things that's going to do the same effect on me. That's why we do this. And that's why I love that this LSU team has given us this greatness here today to talk about, because Jaden Daniels going for like 420 something yards, right? Combined yards. Malik Neighbors over 239. I mean, but the defense, it was the attitude they played with, the intensity they played with that really stuck out to me. That the authority they played with. Here it is again. With weeks on that hit, man. Zy Alexander is on the ground. That guy is open. Zy Alexander is literally on the ground as that ball is coming. But Whitweeks, with this blitz, saves LSU from a first down. Guys, I know this game was good, but Zy Alexander, I'm telling you, you actually watch the film, you actually watch the game, you actually go back through these plays. It is so easy to get receptions, to get yards on this guy. He might be a good player, he might turn out to be good, but he's playing like 10 yards off this guy right now. I literally snapped the ball and just bullet it right to the receiver's gut. I like that play call, though. We played off, okay? There was about 10 yards of space between Alexander and the receiver. And then you saw Swinson peel out from the jack linebacker, from the edge position. He's not covering him. Greg Penn is at linebacker. Greg Penn goes into covers for the middle, and then you got Swinson kind of peel out and just cut that immediate screen out. It immediately forces Will Rogers to go, oh shit, and then Wingo's right in his face because that pressure is brilliantly created by Perkins and Penn. You got Penn fake blitzing and going out, which makes that guy double team someone that really wasn't someone they needed to worry about on the play. and they leave Perkins isolated. He's going at somebody, and then guess who comes in and takes over? Mekhi Wingo. Mekhi Wingo basically goes through 3 people there for that sack. And guess who else is blitzing in on that play? Freshman safety Ryan Yates, our guy Ryan Yates. Gotta text him, man. Malik just responded. One second. Guys, if you can't ask me about what's going on with Greg Brooks Jr. Like, I keep getting messages about that. I'm not gonna answer. Like, I'm not gonna tell you what's going on with him. Okay, like, just stop. Ryan Yates, 2 tackles, 1 solo. I'm really interested to see how many snaps he played because I've seen him in a bunch. If you really like, I know a lot of people kind of like get distracted when they watch games. When they watch games, they don't really pay too much attention. They kind of just see the big plays and stuff. But if you really watch the game, like with intense, what a play Andre Sam, with intense attention to detail, you you saw that LSU were not afraid to mix up the formations, the lineups. LSU were playing a lot of different shit today. A lot of different guys. They're playing a lot of different formations. They're showing a lot of multiple fronts. This was fun. This was fun to watch. LSU were allowing 1 yard per play with 6 minutes and 52 seconds left in the second quarter. 1 yard per play. Mississippi State 3 of 13 on third down. Only 10 first downs the entire game. 10. Just 10 first downs. LSU had 27. And kind of took their foot off the gas in the last 9 minutes, let's be honest. Which I did not like to see. I wanted to see them let Nussmeier kind of start throwing the ball all over the place. It seems like we got like 3 sacks in one really quick sequence there. Crazy to see, and I love seeing that they have that type of trust in Ryan Yates to play in the absence of Greg Brooks Jr. I don't know how much he played for. He didn't start, but you saw him in that nickel position blitzing. Set up Ryan's dad real quick. Yeah. People are all asking Brian Kelly and stuff like, it's a personal matter with Greg Brooks. That's really what we're gonna say, and that's what you're gonna hear from Brian Kelly. And maybe if you guys talk to a player or talk to somebody and they say something like, okay, but if you hear something and it sounds like it's probably true, don't go spreading it around. Just it's not always the coolest thing to look like you know more than everybody. Ooh, you know everything. Like, I love admitting when I don't know what's going on, because then I learn something, because someone says, "Oh, you don't know? This is what's happening." And then I go, oh my God, that's what's happening? Let me look into that. Really? Like, why pretend you know something you don't? And going around saying maybe what might be going on that you've only just heard like secondhand might be going on doesn't really do it. So just don't worry about the Greg Brooks Jr. thing. Let that settle, and you will see him come back when he comes back. Ryan Yates says, yes, sir. I told Ryan Yates' father that a little bit ago. Ryan Yates' father was kind of like, he's not really playing, and I'm like, well, think about it this way. He's only a freshman, true freshman, but he's been making some sick plays on special teams. If he continues making these sick plays on special teams, he will get defensive snaps. That's how Kelly does it. Trust me on that. And so I think, hopefully he kept the faith, and, you know, obviously he would. This is Ryan Yates' father. He's a grade A dude. And you saw Ryan Yates absolutely delivering, getting the snaps and playing really well when he got the snaps. How many bombs did we throw to Malik today? Like, I'm counting 1, 2, 3. There's probably like 5, 6 bombs to Malik. Just plays over 30, 40 yards. God, he just absolutely destroyed that guy, number 3, on that move. Richardson. DeCamerion Richardson is the dude we were talking about in our preview. Look at this. Okay. Okay, let's see where that part is. Okay. Zach Arnett's defense are playing a solid level, surrendering. This is from our article, our preview article, prediction article from, I believe, Tuesday or Wednesday when we posted this. Zach Arnett's defense are playing at a solid level, surrendering just 31 total points from 2 games, intercepting 4 passes, and a steady supply of pressure. They're still increasingly susceptible through the air, namely exposing their linebackers within Arnett's favored 3-3-5 system by forcing them into coverage. While former St. James High DB Sean Preston Jr. has registered a 2023 interception, just like linebacker teammates Jet Johnson and Nathaniel Watson, all 3 defenders allowed more than 5 catches through dual appearances. DeCamerion Richardson stands as the most targeted Mississippi State defender, 13 targets, giving up the highest amount of catches, 9. We just saw him get roasted on that play, and that was not the only time in the game. Watson, Preston Jr., who got ejected from the game for a very soft targeting. I know it's the letter of the rule, the law, but it's bullshit. It's not football. And if it was an LSU player getting ejected for that call, you would be furious. You'd be saying the same shit. It says Watson, Preston Jr., and Jet Johnson all have a completion percentage of over 80%, with Preston allowing 7 catches from all 7 targets his way. So there will definitely be plenty of opportunities for Daniels to take shots on these inconsistent linebackers and DBs, aside from Jet Johnson. Wow. So there will definitely be plenty of opportunities for Daniels to take shots. Well, what happened? This is why you got to watch and read our material. Simply put, we're calling it way before it happens. We just called it. I mean, Jaden Daniels should be throwing the ball over the field against Mississippi State. That's what he should be doing. What does he do? He throws it all over the field. And LSU destroy Mississippi State 41-14 because of it. That's the formula. That's the blueprint. That's the process. That's how LSU move forward. That's what it's about from now on, is LSU have to play like this from now on. I'm not expecting a 41-14 score. I'm not expecting complete just annihilation of everyone. I would have been okay with my prediction, a 21-13 game. But if this is the real LSU, and I think this is the real, true LSU, then we need to see this every single week. So I'm texting some players. And I think that's the biggest story about this game. It was a complete game from you guys. Like, that's what I'm texting some of these dudes. It was a complete performance. Emory Jones was destroying people. I just sent him a message. He was absolutely destroying people. It didn't matter if Lance Hurd was on the outside or they had Miles Frazier in the game. It was kind of strange that they kept kind of mixing and matching. I liked that. I think you got to keep an opposition guessing by mixing and matching personnel. That's just me, but that's just what I like to do. I think you got to rotate guys, not nonstop, not like crazy. If you find the right lineup that works, the right type of guys like that, for instance, that 2019 offense, things like that, you don't mess with it. But there's a lot of opportunities on this type of team with this type of squad with a lot of uncertainty, a lot of guys vying for positions, a lot of guys who have such untapped potential all over the team. You really want to see these guys get opportunities, get chances, and see what they can do, for God's sake. And we found that out. Like, that's what I love about this team so far, these last two games, is we are finding out the maximum of what certain guys are capable of. We've seen Brian Thomas Jr. go off. We've seen Brian Thomas Jr. catch more than 60 yards in 3 straight games. He's had a hell of a season already. Now we've seen Malik Neighbors really turn it on, really become something else in this game. Just having the best receiving game at LSU since the 308 game by Kayshon Boutte. So, I mean, let's see where that lands on the all-time LSU record. Let's look that up. By the way, if you ever want to know that type of stuff, all you have to do is type in LSU statistical leaders in Wikipedia, and it will show you the exact list. And these things are updated like the second they change. Trust me. Let's see here. How many times you see Joe Burrow on these lists is just crazy. Jamie Howard is actually eighth on the all-time LSU list with 34 passing touchdowns. That's interesting. I did not know that. I love seeing that TDP, my guy, still the single game rushing leader in LSU history, 287. And then receiving Kayshon Boutte, another friend of the show, 308. And it's so weird. Those happened in back-to-back seasons, two of the worst seasons in LSU history. Actually, that 52-yarder should have come back, too, because there was a big hold on Andre Sam. So that play shouldn't have even counted, too. That's bullshit. Okay, Malik Neighbors had how much? How many yards? 230, 239. That makes Malik Neighbors tied with Josh Reed for the fourth all-time single game receiving total. Wow. Good God. Malik Neighbors is a fire-breathing dragon today, everybody. These players are having fun. That's all I can tell you guys. This is a funny team right now. They're having a lot of laughs. Right at their expense. Wow. I know I shouldn't have dead air on the show, but why are people texting me saying they didn't watch the game and asking me for like a play-by-play? Like, if you didn't watch the LSU game, you're not a real fan. I'm sorry. Like, if you didn't watch this game, if you didn't have like a job or something that was like really in your way, like you're not an LSU Tigers fan. If you missed this type of game, like this was a celebration of LSU football. This was getting back to what LSU were about. Kicking ass, taking names, putting a boot up the ass of a team like Piss State, a team that really doesn't belong on the same field with LSU, doesn't belong. We should have never been losing games like that 2020 game, allowing 600 receiving yards. They have beat us in some embarrassing ways in the last few seasons. They have embarrassed us in the last few seasons. And I don't know about you, but I've had enough of it. And so this was a great game to see that. It was a great game to see LSU in a big picture way really take that next step. Not only offensively, but defensively, they answered a ton of questions. They answered so many questions on defense that we just, can it continue? Will it continue? Will Gray Brooks Jr. coming back, when he comes back, only add to their greatness, only make them better? Sorry if the stream is kind of choppy right now. That is a good question. That is a question that we'll just have to find out, because this team still has a lot to prove. This team still has a lot to on the table to accomplish. This team still has a chance to screw up and lose their second game. This all of this could be a Pyrrhic victory pretty quick. If LSU don't get this right. So like all of this is great, stuffing the stat sheet, playing with swagger, playing with fire on the road, dominating. Harold Perkins is coming back. Mason Smith is blocking passes. You got Harold Perkins literally being the focus of the defense again, literally dominating the entire line of scrimmage, breaking up passes in the passing game even. Like, there was nothing he could not do today. Everything that you wanted to see for LSU, you saw today defensively, but it's like, will it continue? Will the pressure continue? Will I just still see a defensive backfield that is shocking in its ineptitude. I mean, we were pointing out a play where Whit Weeks made a quarterback hit off of a blitz. And it was like, thank God Whit Weeks made it there in time, because if he doesn't, Zy Alexander slipped and fell on his ass, and the ball was going right for him. Like, he was wide open. Oh, come on. That's bullshit. You can't. Facebook is so stupid. I'm sorry. I hate posting all this shit on Facebook and stuff. Like, ugh. Like posting it on Twitter, on Facebook, on this, on that. Like, it gets ridiculous. And it's kind of hard to do while you're trying to say coherent thoughts. So sorry if I just keep finding out crazy stats about this game. But, yeah, it looks like crowd is kind of dwindling out, as I guess everybody's going to go have a crazy Saturday and party it up, because LSU just went nuts and dominated, and so you're like, let's go get crazy and have a good time, go party for all Saturday. That's fine. Absolutely enjoy that. Go play that to the hilt. Um, it's the time to do it. This is, we wait all year for games like this, and then we get kicked in the balls, kicked in the crotch, I guess I'll say, to keep it gender neutral. Kicked in the crotch with the Florida State game. Florida State game, was so embarrassing, so terrible, and just right in your face, inescapable. The national media are just destroying Kelly, giving him a lashing. And then back-to-back weeks, you get Grambling, which, for LSU junkies like myself, I love it. I'll take it. I love it. Give it hook in my veins. I love watching all the freshmen. I love watching the sophomores. I love watching all of the redshirt guys who don't get much time playing and having big roles. I love seeing LSU score 72 freaking points. But going on the road and dominating completely in Stark Vegas is just, that's another level. And as our buddy AD said, this is the most dominant win of the Brian Kelly era. He's absolutely right in saying that. Look at that. They're holding Gatorade for the players. You guys want Gatorade? Who wants Gatorade? As the Mississippi State guys are walking in there. Someone's just about to get punched for doing that. Like, I want no fucking Gatorade. Get out of here.